Hello, I'm Dr. Sam Hancock of the Emerald Planet and Emerald Planet TV. We come to you on a week-to-week basis from Washington, D.C. in the United States as we look around the globe in 144 different nations, looking for those 1,000 best practices, the technology, services, and products that are making a difference as we move through the 21st century. And as we have a planet of 9 billion people by 2038 and possibly 12 to 13 billion by the end of this century, how are we going to be able to take care of all these people on planet Earth? And that's what Emerald Planet's all about. We come to you looking at the solutions, the best practices from around the globe as we create the Emerald Planet. Hello, welcome to the Emerald Planet. We're making a difference as we move through the 21st century. And seeing the long-term impacts of climate change. We're glad to have you. Thank you for being with us. As we look around the globe, we found a most interesting country that's doing wonderful things with its females, both the mothers and the young girls, expanding into the real green economy of agriculture. And we have Awamary Khan. She's the founder and plus CEO. I have to do that correctly. The woman boss. And we're going to do a series of 4 different case studies. It's the first time that we've had this format on the Emerald Planet TV. It's very exciting. And you're going to see 4 different women that are actually increasing the incomes of their families, providing food within their communities, and actually even exporting abroad. So this is very, very exciting. So we're going to start off with the woman boss, which is Awamary Khan. She's going to introduce each of our guests. And Awamary, welcome to the Emerald Planet TV.
Thank you so much for having me, Dr. Sam.
I think this is, what you're doing is absolutely fantastic. Tell us a little bit about the woman boss. What does that stand for and why is that so important?
Sure. So the Woman Boss is actually a creative space for women and girls that come together to curate, collaborate, and engage and learn. And we focus on 3 things that are innovation, entrepreneurship, and leadership.
That's absolutely fantastic. And we're going to start off with the first case study. We're going to include the location where the Gambia is actually located. And then we'll introduce your first featured guest. But looking at the continent of Africa, why is it so important in the 21st century?
Well, in the 21st century, it's really, really important, especially when it comes to agriculture as a means of creating sustainable economies. The Gambia being the smallest country in Africa, we have great, rainy and dry season, great weather to be able to grow our food. So it's one thing that we encourage, making farming and agriculture sexy again.
Oh, that's incredible. Now, tell us a little bit about the Gambia itself. It's a very interesting history. It's very strategically located. Why is the Gambia so important?
So the Gambia is really important. The good thing is that if you're looking at it in the map of West Africa, it's centered in the middle of Senegal, and then the river Gambia runs right through it. So you're surrounded by the coastal Atlantic Ocean and then the river. The land is fertile, and it's an English colony, so we speak really good English in the country. So it's perfectly situated.
Yeah, and linguistically, educationally, agriculturally, even historically, it's a very important country. And
Yes.
Also, too, you have a very beautiful capital city that we should mention that as well. But looking at our first case study, introduce our guest, and then we'll start seeing some photographs of the work that she's doing.
Sure. So this is Ndey Awa Ceesay. She's a woman boss, a cohort member. So she actually went through Accelerator Program Cohort 1. And you can see her, she has a certificate of completion. And so for her, she processes moringa. Moringa is a crop that's rich in nutrients, high in vitamins, and she makes different products out of moringa. And, for example, like oils, shea butter mixed with moringa, food products mixed with moringa. And her land that she actually owns is 1 hectare land.
Yeah, that's very important. But looking at the moringa as a plant, as a crop, looking at the use within a society, historically, this has been something very important, correct?
Yes, definitely very, very important. Moringa is, it's one that's very, very easy to grow. So it's actually in the Gambia, if you come into the Gambia, you find it in lots of different compounds, because it's one, with low income, a lot of majority of the low income households will use it as a way to actually gain nutrients eating it. So instead of, if you can't afford to buy meats or chicken and so on, or even fish, moringa is the way to actually eat to be able to get the nutrients into your body.
So really, what we're seeing here in this photograph, this is a group outing, but you're really looking at something that's spread across the entire society, but also it's very relevant to the future food supply for the entire African continent.
Absolutely. So if you can look at the farm that she's in right now, so she grows moringa, but in the back of it too, she's growing oranges.
Mhm.
And then this is the next slide, if you wanted to highlight that, it's we have a water problem in the Gambia where, even though we have the ocean, we have the river, the water supply just doesn't reach to the rural parts of the Gambia very, very easily. So most people own a borehole to be able to have water. And so what you see is a way for them to maintain water like wells to be able to, keep the soil fertile, especially during the dry season.
Mhm. And that's very important. And in the agricultural, it is sexy. It's doing much as far as bringing incomes and stability to families in the Gambia and across Africa. But also, it really is a lot of work.
It really is because women there don't have the, large equipments. Like if you look into the US, how they have the big caterpillars that they use, but here it's everything by hand. It's all manual labor that the women have to do. So most of them too, there's other components behind it that, you don't have the men that are supporting you in this case. So you almost feel alone and you have other women that are, part of your, farm and
Mhm.
etc. But it's all manual labor that you would think somebody else is doing, but this is the work that women have to do.
Now, looking at the women boss, and I'm going to park on this image right here because this is very cleverly done.
Yes,
Taking old tires, which really is a huge waste in most countries.
yes.
It breeds mosquitoes, so a lot of disease come out of these. But you're doing something with it. But the woman boss, how do you take these very simple ideas and people all of a sudden look at whatever natural resource or manufactured resources around them, all of a sudden becomes a business opportunity.
So for the woman boss, really, if you look at, especially in this photograph right here, we do have actually in the country, we do have a problem of waste and in terms of tires. So people are actually looking at tires and ways of recycling it. So in this case, obviously she's using it for her farm, but we have other people that are actually using it to make trash cans around so we can use it as dustbins. But it's just, if you don't have the land in the Gambia, which most women don't own land because
Mhm.
that's something men own, this is a way for you to create some sort of a garden in the back of your house or, in other public places that at least you can, figure out a way to earn some, sort of revenue by growing little gardens, whether it's fruits, vegetables, and in this case, different forms of herbs to
Mhm.
kind of help.
Yeah, and the whole thing is Awamary, is that in a sense, even in the United States or large industrialized countries, we're saying there's no such thing as waste anymore. This is just a new raw material to be recycled, repurposed, rediscovered in new
Right.
ways that brings value into the society. And that's what we see in this photograph here with the herbs planted in among these old, look like probably truck tires. What is
Yeah.
happening in this photograph?
So in this photograph, we talked about the really good importance of moringa. So this is the drying process. And so this is how she puts it in racks and dry them before we process it into making it into a powder form, which most people, if you don't like it freshly cooked, they make it in stews, etc. You'll dry them and you can sprinkle it in smoothies, or you can, take them as capsules a day. So this is the drying process that they have to do manually.
Now, this is really the moringa itself, I believe. It's already
Yeah,
dried, ready to be packaged.
correct.
Tell us about this? Why is this so important as a food source? What's in it? And again, evidently, if most people are doing it, it's a low cost source of food for no matter what socioeconomic background you come out of.
Sure. Sure. So, like I mentioned before, that it's high in iron, high in protein, high in vitamin B6, magnesium, etc. It has all these rich proteins, but it's also known to help with regulate blood pressure, help with diabetes,
Mm,
also help with some forms of cancer. And helps also with weight loss. So it's one of those uh, herbs that people didn't know about it, and then it became this really big popular, because people are coming, or the Chinese are coming into the Gambia, they're growing it, they're exporting it out. And so we thought, why not, our own African women also do the same thing, where you're making other products like oils for our hair, soaps that we can use. You see it here. I sprinkle mine. I actually use it every day and sprinkle it on my smoothies on a daily basis,
mm.
or take it into capsules just for better health, especially right now with COVID-19 is actually really good to build your immune system.
And the look of this, it's such a rich color. I mean, it's actually very pretty.
Yeah.
And I never thought I would see something that pretty. Now, looking at the body butter, the shea butter, tell us about that. This is really a rage all across the globe.
Yes. So shea butter, I mean, it's really well known all across the globe because they're shea nuts that African women usually process to make it into butter for lotions, cream, shampoos, etc. So we did a little bit of a hint. So, Ndey Awa came up with a great idea of not only using that, let me add another rich oil to mix it in for hair growth
Mhm.
and body, to give you a really more even skin tone. And so the moringa butter, body butter, does exactly that. It's really great, rich in nutrients for your body, no chemicals, all organically processed, and it's amazing and
That
smells
is,
amazing as well.
yeah, we're going to go out on this image right here. Tell us a little bit about what you see for the future of agriculture in this case study number one. What best practices are you seeing with this particular case study that we need to look at for women across not only the African continent, but women across the whole globe?
Sure. So, I mean, in this photograph, you actually see lots of women. There was a trade fair, including the first lady, purchasing some of the items that she makes. She makes also peanut covered into the moringa. But I think what's been really inspiring, because this lady, she's under 30, but she came up with this great idea of using what we currently have with our local resources and making it into a profitable business. And not only that, not only catering for the Gambian community, but actually catering for the international community with the right packaging. And just coming up with different innovative ideas where she learns from various things that are happening over the internet, or just coming up with her own to create a sustainable economy for herself.
This is absolutely fantastic. This is Awamary Khan, founder plus CEO of the Women Boss. Case study number one in the Gambia as we're looking around the globe to create the Emerald Planet.